Welcome to Martinsville Speedway. Qualifying about to get set for the first race in the round of 8. The track known as the Paperclip is the smallest in NASCAR, and we've seen what can happen in these cramped confines.
Oh, what the hell happened there?
It's an absolute crapshoot.
That's a chicken move right there.
At the track located just north of the North Carolina-Virginia border in Martinsville, Virginia, it is the oldest track in NASCAR as we get ready for qualifying for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series from Martinsville Speedway. Take a look at the grid. This championship run started with 16 drivers. Half of those have been eliminated. It's down to the round of 8. 8 drivers, all on an even playing field. We get ready for the first race of the round of 8. Alongside Steve Letarte and Jeff Burton, I'm Rick Allen. Of the 10 chase races, where would this rank as most important for qualifying?
I think first. I think this racetrack is so difficult for so many reasons, and already we have drivers that are having trouble in practice. Some of our chase drivers, if you think about Kevin Harvick, Carl Edwards, Matt Kenseth, none of those guys were all that great in practice. So the pressure's already turned up on those guys because, Steve, at this racetrack, starting in the middle of the pack is not where you want to be.
Yeah, qualifying is very important for not only where you start, because traffic can be an issue. You see accidents all the time, but on pit road. When it comes to pit road pick, we believe Martinsville and that pit stall number 1 is the most valuable pit stall in the entire circuit. So if one of these cars is fortunate enough to sit on the pole, one of the chase contenders can pit out of pit stall 1. That could be 6, 8, or a 10 position advantage over the course of the race.
8 drivers all still fighting for a championship. Who will take the first step toward getting closer to that title? It all happens with qualifying as we get ready to set the field for Sunday's race at the Paperclip. Chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup with the NBC Sports app and get closer with additional camera angles, driver stats, track information. You can watch live anywhere on any device. Find out more at NBCSports.com/live. From the short track of Martinsville, here are the rules for qualifying. It'll be 3 rounds. In round 1, we'll determine the fastest 24. They will advance to round 2. They have 20 minutes to go out onto the track and put down as many laps as they feel they need to advance into the second round. And in the second round, it's only a 10-minute round, and the fastest 12 will advance to the third round. That is where the pole will be won, in the third round, when the top 12 are fighting for those top 12 starting positions. That one only 5 minutes. This first round, they will actually start on pit road. Once they get done with their qualifying run, they'll go back into the garage and they'll be able to plug back into their cool-down units in the garage area.
Yeah, they don't have to leave in the order that they're sitting on pit road. That was by a random draw. If a car wants to go out and they're in a hurry, they can pull out a line and pull to the front. And it's going to be interesting to see, because this concrete track sometimes starts a little slippery there, Jeff, and gains grip as the session goes. And with only basically less than 0.2 of a second separating the top 24, it's going to be hundreds, if not thousands of a second to determine who moves forward and who doesn't out of round 1.
And also, I don't think it would be unusual at all to have a car go out the second time and pick up speed. So if you are in that 18th, 19th, 20th range after this first run, I don't think by any means are you safe.
So the green flag has been displayed. That means the track's open. Anybody can go out. The 20-minute clock has started. And not a lot of cars jumping out of line right now. The first one that will go out onto the track will be Jeffrey Earnhardt in the 32. What do you think 24th will be? How much will it take? 24th in practice was David Reagan at a 1945. Is it going to take a 45 to advance into the second round?
I think it's going to be quicker. I think you're going to have to be down in the 30s, maybe a high to mid 30. Seems like all of these drivers seem to find a little bit more speed. 1 and 2 has a little bit of shade on it. We just saw Jeffrey Earnhardt go through that into the racetrack. Now he's in 3 and 4. We've had a little bit more truck practice, so we'll have to just see how much grip, what the grip level is of the racetrack.
The other thing is the temperature here, quite a bit warmer than what everyone anticipated for a fall weather or a fall weekend race. The fall weather normally not up in the 80s is what they're saying it's going to be. It's mid 70s now. So a beautiful day here in Martinsville.
As we ride on board with Kurt Busch, I think he's going to give us a good idea where the track is. He ran a 1936. He was 11th in practice. And remember, this is going to take multiple laps, as we see here. This is Kurt basically coming around to what we would consider a lap that doesn't even really count, Jeff. This is just taking the green flag. It usually takes at least a lap. You see there, well off the pace, 22 seconds, just getting a little temperature and everything.
Yeah, and he's coming in.
Yeah, maybe this might be his plan. Just go out, get a little temperature in your brakes.
Little temperature in your brakes, little temperature in your tires to scuff those tires in a little bit.
Yep.
That way you go back out that second run. We mentioned how it can go faster the second run. Well, right here, Kurt Busch may have just scuffed his tires in so he doesn't have to run 2 runs and end up with 6 laps on tires versus having 3 laps on tires.
Jeffrey Earnhardt ran about a 20 flats in practice, and now duplicating that number, 20.028 for Jeffrey Earnhardt on his 4th lap. So Earnhardt continuing to work his way around the track.
And the interesting thing is, you know, we see a lot of patience now that we've had 2.5 minutes go, but, you know, everyone's going to need to make a lap.
And they were going to want a clean track, too. They don't want anyone to affect their lap.
And you're going to remember, say it takes 3 laps. Leave pit road, 1 warm-up lap, 2 time laps, 20 seconds a lap. That's a minute of on-track activity. Well, there's 17 minutes left and 39 cars still to go. So at some point, we're going to have multiple cars on the racetrack.
And I'd like to go back and talk about this Kurt Busch thing a little bit. We saw him pull out on the racetrack. He ran 1 time lap.
Right.
And went straight to the garage. Now he's plugged in, cooling it down. And the reason he did that is to prevent from having to make that second run and potentially get trapped. So putting that 1 lap on his tires, they feel like it needed that 1 lap. It will make that first run better and ultimately not have to make that second run. So interesting to see how that gamble works out. I like the strategy. I think they're fully committed. They feel like they're going to make the first round pretty easily, and I like that strategy.
Well, and they did that in practice.
That's right.
They went out and ran 2 relatively slow laps, you know, not very good laps in practice, came back in, sat for a few minutes, then went out and made a qualifying run, which was at the time pretty decent. But you see the car, look at the line of cars on pit road.
And nobody moving. Landon Castle just coming off the racetrack. Landon from Iowa.
He did the same thing. He ran 1 lap.
Yeah.
And here's the issue, Rick. Unlike most tracks where you come around and you take the checkered, you go down on the apron, you get out of everybody's way. But if you look down here, these are all the cars on pit road. But if you look down in the middle of turns 1 and 2, that bright pink curbing, the groove on the racetrack is right against that curbing. So when you finish your lap, you can't get out of the way. You're still in the groove, in the main position of the racetrack where other cars want to go. With closing in on 15 minutes left, there's no way we go 15 minutes without someone mad at someone else for being in their way.
Right.
Because, as you said, it's going to take multiple laps.
The other thing to look at is the shade. So 1 and 2 is shaded. It'll be interesting to see how, as this practice moves along, how far this shade moves around to the exit of turn 2. So if the track tip cools down, that can make more speed as well. And that may be why some of these cars are waiting.
Marty, what's going on in the garage that these guys are all sitting out here on pit road?
It's lonely right now. Kurt Busch is the only one in here in the garage area, and they're kind of over there where the area is. We're kind of on the other side where the transporters are and the haulers are. But I did check in with the team, and they said that really was more for Kurt Busch to go out and warm up the brakes, kind of get everything going, and as you guys said, maybe put a cycle on the tires as well. They did that this morning, and they stayed in qualifying trim all day long. Tony Gibson told me we've never done that here at Martinsville, but we feel like our best qualifying effort here is 15th. Feel like we need to get a little bit better on that front. So the strategy play more than anything, kind of get some heat in the brakes, get the tires warmed up, get everything kind of going in the race car, then come in, cool it down, and then make one more run later on in this first round.
It's a pretty interesting strategy. You see 17, he's just riding around, hasn't taken off, just kind of scuffing his tires in. Normally we would see a car just blasting right now, trying to get to the line as quick as he could. But Ricky rode around real slow, just swerved a little bit.
I'll tell you what's interesting is, so the 17 and the 2 both got out of line where they were on pit road, and the 17 went all the way out onto the racetrack. The 2 actually went and got in line closer to the front. So there was a spot that opened up closer to the front. The 2 pulled in there, and like he was parking to get ready to go to lunch.
Oh, wheel hop.
And around goes the 17 and into the wall.
You could hear the wheel hop, couldn't you?
Down 1 coming.
And that will stop the clock. So now those teams wondering how much time they would need to go out onto the racetrack.
I am sure that I actually heard the rear wheels hopping.
a bit of damage to the 17. Let's look at it again.
Yeah, right there. Look at the right rear. Talked about wheel hop. We saw it in practice. The first practice, we saw it last year in this race. We saw it in the spring race.
So just listen here. You heard the engine revving, and you heard the rear tires hopping on and off the racetrack. So look right here at the right rear tire as it comes into view. He's already going to start to spin out, but watch the rear tire. He almost has it saves, and then right here, the rear tire is going to, look at it right there, bouncing, and around it comes.
The other car that was on the track at the time was the 30 of Greg Galding, the 18-year-old out of Colonial Heights, Virginia, making his first career Sprint Cup Series starts. And you both have mentioned the wheel hop on the 17. I want to take a look at the NASCAR Heat Evolution animation. Explain that in a little greater detail.
Well, basically it comes down to brake balance. That's something the driver can adjust to help wheel hop. Right here you see the brakes 50-50. That means the front and the rear tires, when the brakes are applied, stop the same amount. But inside the cockpit, Jeff, the driver can adjust that.
That's right. So right now it's 52% on the rear. That means the rear wheels are braking at a higher rate than the front. That'll make the car loose. If it's like that, you can adjust it to the front and end up putting front brake bias to it. You can see the rotors glowing on the front. That will make the car where it's not as loose getting in the corner. Right here, you see the 20, see the right rear tire hopping. That's too much rear wheel brake.
Right, in the front, if you have too much front brake, you see the front tires lock up and they'll smoke. You see the left front tire lock up and actually smoke down into the corner. But the rears, instead of locking up, what they do if too much rear brake is applied, they kind of lock up and then they start to bounce, much like a bouncy ball. It just bounces on and off the asphalt, and you're so dependent on the grip of that tire, it sends the car around.
You see, look at the right rear tire. It is evident what happens. See it moving back and forth?
Unbelievable, and around it goes.
The NASCAR Heat Evolution is in stores now. You can pick up your copy today. And so green flag displayed once again on this qualifying session. The clock continues to run. 13 minutes now as Jamie McMurray is out there. Also going out the 42, the 10 of Danica Patrick is out there. Regan Smith in the 7.
And these are fast cars. Danica Patrick was very fast in practice inside the top 5. She ended up 5th. Jamie McMurray also had some decent speed. He ended up 13th. So it seems like there's a little bit more urgency. And Danica runs a nice lap of 52. We'll see if she could go a little bit quicker. She ran faster than that in practice. Kyle Larson was the first car in practice.
Kyle Larson, the number he put up earlier today was a 19.289. Jamie McMurray just ran a 19.40.
Danica ran a 48, but it wasn't a clean lap at all. It was kind of a messy lap. She's going to run another lap, see if she can put a smoother lap together. And it looks like it's going to be better. She's trending a little bit off, maybe a little too high here in 3 and 4. We'll see what Larson does as well.
Larson had all kinds of trouble getting into turn 3. Had to chase the car up the racetrack.
So right now, McMurray's slower than he ran in practice by about a half a tenth, but currently the best of all the cars we've seen.
Same with Danica Patrick. She's a little bit slower than what we saw in practice earlier.
I think the track went through a major change. It's warm here today. It's very warm, but then also the Truck Series is here, and there was about a 2.5-hour practice that those guys had. So the track has changed a great deal since the last time these cars were on the racetrack.
But I think that it's going to settle back in as qualifying goes. I really think it's going to take 2 runs. I like the 41's approach. I think Kurt Busch's approach of going out and warming up his equipment might really pay off.
No question. I bet David Reagan in second. Beat Larson, Patrick.
Welcome to the frustrations of short track qualifying. Kyle Larson on top of the board in practice goes out and can only muster 3rd out of basically the 11 cars, 10 cars we've seen take time.
Yeah, I believe this racetrack in New Hampshire, I think they're the toughest racetracks to qualify on. The track's changed so much between practice and qualifying. It's hard to know how fast the track is going to be. It's very easy to overdrive the corner entries.
Clint Boyer, the 5-hour energy, number 15, out on track. And Clint has moved up to 8th quickest at a 19.68. Greg Biffle 6th quickest, 19:53.
And I also think what makes this track difficult is just the rhythm, Jeff. You know, in qualifying practice, you go out, you make a couple runs, you come in, you go back out, you kind of get into this sync, into this rhythm. Now qualifying, you've taken 3, 4, 5 hours off, and you have to come out, and you only get a handful of laps to pick it back up.
One guy who may have gotten out of his rhythm, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., standing by with Dave.
He's down in the garage area now. Ricky, did you have any of that sensation in practice at all?
Nah, I actually felt really good. We worked on our brake package coming here, and I felt like our car was really good under braking in practice. So that kind of caught me off guard there, you know, with the wheel hop. But it's not the first time I've had wheel hop here at Martinsville. It's kind of bit me a couple of times before. So we'll get our backup ready. These Fastenal guys work really hard, and I'll help them get this backup car ready, and we'll go at it tomorrow.
Good luck going forward. That's the story from Ricky, guys.
That's the big difference, Rick. In practice, you don't go out ice cold. You kind of go out, and the start of practice, you're still learning the track, and then even no matter how much you sit in an hour, these brakes get well over 1,200 degrees. They retain the temperature. Ricky Stenhouse went out right there. We saw him. He only went through 3 and 4 and crashed going into turn 1. I just don't think the equipment was up to speed, up to temperature yet.
Denny Hamlin, normally very good at qualifying, has now posted the top mark, 19.374. The 3 has gotten into the wall. So Austin Dillon.
This has been an eventful qualifying.
Yeah, already. And the clock once again stops with 9 minutes 11 seconds to go.
We've only had 17 cars take time. We see right here the 3. He's crashed before he ever gets to the corner. You saw the back come around, couldn't turn the wheel, and then, like you said earlier, the back is still hopping as he tries to get on the brakes, and eventually just run out of real estate.
That looks exactly like what happened to them in New Hampshire.
Right.
I mean, when I was watching that, it was almost a replay of their wreck in practice at New Hampshire.
Take another look.
But Steve, I think you're right. I think the big difference here is that, watch your right rear tire. These cars have sat, and they have no heat in them whatsoever. See the right rear tire, it's rear lockup. And without that heat in the tires and the rotors and the wheels, it just brakes differently. And it's surprising these guys that it has that much rear brake. It's an easy fix. It's just putting front brake to it to take this problem away. But you have no reason to think you need to put front brake to it. You don't want to put front brake to it because it hurts the way the car turns. So it's surprising everybody. I don't think anybody expected this to be happening, but something is different. Something's going on, that it's changed from the way it was with high temp versus low temp, because we've seen it happen more this weekend than normal.
And you see Slugger Labby going over there to assess the damage on that 3 car. He's put on a helmet. That's a protected area, in essence, going over the wall, if you will, onto pit road. That's what the garage area is now. He said the damage does not look that bad to him. Austin Dillon's going to stay in the car. They're going to try and tape up this damage and try and make another run in this 3 car. That's the one question he did ask, though, Jeff. Slugger Labby asked Austin, did you lock up any of the tires? He said, yep, obviously I locked up the rear, so they're going to have to make a decision here on tires as well. Put some new tires on this and get Austin Dillon back out for qualifying.
Yeah, and I don't think the rear tires are damaged. I don't think when you wheel hop a tire, it hurts the tire. It can hurt the rear end, it can hurt the transmission, but it doesn't flat spot a tire the way it would if you locked up the left front.
Well, you mentioned it. As we look forward into the weekends, we have Kurt Busch going back on the racetrack now. With all of this wheel hop, rear gears are also already very stressed here at Martinsville. If you continue to wheel hop like this, it can damage the rear gear, and that's something you have to race all weekend long. We'll see if we have any failures in the race on Sunday.
This will be cool to ride along. See right there, he couldn't get the power laid down the way he wanted to. That's not a surprise, though. Takes a while for these tires to get heated up. Drives really bad for a lap. It'll get better every time he gets around a racetrack.
And this is basically, he's coming to take the green right here. This is the lap he wants to be improved on. As we ride along with him, we see Jeff Ford in the 88 currently trending into the green versus Denny Hamlin.
But look how much better it drives in this corner than it did the first time we rode along with him.
And the difficulties as far as hitting a mark on this racetrack, when the sun is in the position it's in now, he's going from strong sunshine to shadows to strong sunshine again. It's got to be difficult to get your perception figured out as the sun's in his eyes when he comes off of turn 4.
How about Tony Stewart up to P1?
Tony Stewart, 19.294 fastest lap.
This 19 of Carl Edwards really had a struggle in practice. I saw him actually after practice, and he said, we found our issue. They were about 2/3 of the way through practice. We had an issue with the car. We found it. We think we corrected it, but it only got him a couple laps with this current setup, and making the most of it, jumps up into 6th.
If you would have told him in practice he would be right there after his first run in qualifying, Jim, he'd probably be pretty happy.
Yeah.
Because they struggle.
3 chase drivers that have already taken time, and now the 4th with Kevin Harvick are all within the top 24. Denny Hamlin, Carl Edwards, Kurt Busch in the top 10 right now. Kevin Harvick and Matt Kenseth are 20th and 23rd, but they're on their first lap.
And I expect this cut line to move very quickly. I think cars are going to go back on the racetrack and continue to go faster. Maybe not the 30s that I thought originally, but I still think you're going to have to run in the 40s. And right now, a 48 is in the 10th position, and I think that's going. I think Kyle Larson in the 10th position is going to end up somewhere down near the cut line by the end of qualifying.
We have 6.5 minutes to find out if that's accurate.
It's going to move quick too.
Yeah.
I think we saw that too in the laps those guys made. You know, Kevin Harvick on his second lap, he was 8th, but he went ahead and ran a 3rd lap. Typically, most racetracks, if you're 8th on your second lap, you would shut it down, but they were afraid to shut it down. Same with Kenseth. He ran 3 laps. I think he was 9th and moved up to 7th on his 3rd lap.
Fastest laps so far, the top 3, it was all their second lap. The next 4 cars, it was their 3rd lap that was the fastest. Chase Elliott out on the track, and again referencing against 24th. That'll be the transfer line. Austin Dillon now in 24th as Chase Elliott goes 4th quickest with that lap, his second lap.
And now the track is coming back to what we saw in practice. We currently have a 29 fastest. We had a 28 in practice. And the cars just look like they're able to get more aggressive. As you ride on board with Jimmy Johnson, listen to his throttle. I mean, he's way more aggressive than we saw cars earlier in practice.
Watch the steering wheel and listen to the throttle together. Watch what happens when he goes to the throttle. See that little turn back to the right? That's just a little bit loose.
Jimmy Johnson's going to run that 3rd lap. I don't know if they feel good about that lap of 47.
Yeah, see, that lap, he didn't have to turn the wheel back to the right when he went back to the throttle. Watch and listen again. A little bit right there, but not as much.
Will he improve? No, he does. He improves on his 3rd lap. That is 8th quickest for Jimmy Johnson. Kyle Busch jumped up to 5th quickest. So Denny Hamlin currently 3rd, Kyle Busch 5th, Jimmy Johnson 8th, Carl Edwards 9th, now 10th because A.J. Allmendinger has just jumped into the top 10.
We have Brad Keselowski's finally on the racetrack. I was going to say we had 2 Penske cars yet to run, but that's not the case anymore. Brad's on the racetrack, but Joey Logano, the last 3 poles have gone to Joey Logano here at Martinsville, and he's still sitting on pit road.
Brad was 30th in practice. Of the 21st. Risky move by Logano and his team, sitting there waiting. As long as they're waiting, if they go out and get blocked, they have any kind of problem whatsoever, they won't have enough time to make that second run. We saw the 78 car at Watkins Glen, knowing the track was going to get better, they waited and waited. They got blocked going up the S's. They never were able to get back out and get another lap in. So big risk with waiting this long.
Yeah, but Joey Logano's dominance here qualifying has been high. He's not only been on the last 3 poles, but the last 5 rounds, all 3 here in April and the final 2 last October. He was the fastest of all 5 of those rounds of qualifying.
Now look at his wheel and listen to his throttle as opposed to where Jimmy Johnson's was. Almost no well on the exit. He had a little bit of wheel input back to the right, but up to first. You can see when he first went to the throttle, he didn't have to turn the wheel back to the right. He went to the throttle and was able to keep the thing turned left. As he came off the corner, he had to turn it right. But by not having to turn the wheel back to the right, he was able to go full throttle sooner.
As you guys were praising the idea and maybe the strategy that Kurt Busch has tried to employ, he may be, of the chase drivers, the only one that's going to have to go back out and try again, because he is very close to the transfer line. 23rd right now. Right at that line is Regan Smith in 24th. Busch's lap time was 19.505.
See the 3 of Austin Dillon after that damage on the regular quarter panel on the racetrack, trying to improve. You know, there are some aerodynamics here, but nowhere near normal circumstances at other tracks. So I would think by looking at that damage, I don't think it should affect this car very much. I think if the car handles well mechanically, he should be able to improve his lap times.
He's talking about a little bit sketchy for a driver. Hey, you just wheel hopped and direct hit the wall. Go back out there and do it again.
On these same tires, they'll be fine. No worry about it.
Around a 20 flat for Austin Dillon on that last lap. And we'll see if he's able to improve on this one. 19.674. Again, his fastest lap, 19.669. And he is not improved. He's not improved as there's 90 seconds still to go in this first round of qualifying.
See a few cars right on the edge of the green. That's got to make Kurt Busch nervous.
Oh, this was so close.
Just slipped a little bit off turn 4.
Biffle 25th now.
Well, that lap was in the green and he quit.
I thought it was too.
Some mirrors on the track.
I thought Casey Mears looked good in practice. I thought he had a shot at advancing, but unable to do so. Currently 26 quick. The 3 of Austin Dillon, he's going to get the award for the most laps. It seems like he's up to lap 8.
He continues to dig. Trevor Bayne went back out, tried to put down a better lap. It didn't work for him. As you mentioned, Austin Dillon's going to keep digging. 93 of Matt DiBenedetto still out on the track.
I think Kurt Busch is going to be safe.
He's going to roll out on the track. We'll see if he makes a run or if he's just going to roll around and find out if anybody's close.
He may as well come on in now. He wouldn't be able to get back around in time anyway, but had to go try to protect.
So all 8 chase drivers are going to end up in the top 24. They will all advance to round 2. The fastest was Joey Logano, looking to defend the 3 consecutive poles that he has won here at Martinsville, as Ryan Scott, after a career best finish a week ago, kept digging, and that lap 19.893, a little bit slower than the one he had posted earlier. 25th through 40th is now set. As far as that field, we will talk to some drivers that are not advancing in round 2 next. As we look at the drivers that will not advance into round 2, Greg Biffle 25th. Greg Gaulding making his first Sprint Cup Series start will start 36th, 37th through 40th. Dylan Lupton all the way through Michael Annett. Let's go trackside to Marty.
32nd, obviously not where Austin Dillon wanted for qualifying today. You told me the car didn't wheel hop in practice at all. Was it a product of the heat or being more aggressive in qualifying trim?
I don't really know. I mean, we had a really good car in practice and been learning a lot and getting better, and I felt like this was going to be our day to finally make the 3rd round here qualifying at Martinsville. And second lap, the car came in good. I was tracking where I needed to be to run a good lap, and just I got too much of it in one, and the brake pedal, and it just wheel hopped. So bummer for our Dow team, but hopefully we can get it all fixed. It's a fast race car. Started from the back. We finished 4th here earlier this year, so we'll be all right.
Good effort by the guys, though, to get them back out and try and make another qualifying attempt. Not what they wanted, though, today. Dave?
Marty, Greg Biffle is first out. We'll start 25th on Sunday. Greg, what were you fighting in the 16 car?
You know, same thing we've been fighting for the last couple of years. Just lacking a little turn in the center of the corner. Seems to be kind of chronic of everywhere we go. Just, you know, we've gotten all we could get out of this thing, and I was a little bit loose getting in the corner, axle hop like Ricky a little bit, and all I can sweep the center just as fast as I can get it. So excited to have forward pass on the car, and that's definitely what we're going to have to do on Sunday. We always run decent here in the race, but just all we can get out of this thing in qualifying.
Rick?
Round 2 of qualifying from Martinsville Speedway coming up next.
Gear up
up with the pit crew and get the latest NASCAR t-shirts, hats, and diecast at the NASCAR.com Superstore. Visit NASCAR.com/Superstore today for all your favorite drivers' gear. A gorgeous day in Martinsville, Virginia. The campers up on the hill. A lot of people enjoying qualifying with us here as the leaves start to change. Fall weather hasn't found Martinsville, Virginia, at least for this weekend. Projected temperatures in the lower 80s for Sunday's race. And now to start this second round, the teams will actually be able to come out of the garage area, so not along the pit road wall. And the green flag does come out as the car is starting to roll out from the garage.
A little more urgency here. Not only do we only have 10 minutes to run, but the competitors now have temperature in their brakes, temperatures in their tires.
The other thing the teams have to consider is that it takes much longer to get onto the racetrack leaving the garage. So if you do have to make a second run, you have to leave that garage area much earlier than you would if you were on pit road. So they're going to have to factor that in with only 9.5 minutes left.
Once again, Kurt Busch out onto the track, and this time he's trying to get it all. Gets after it right away. And Marty.
And Rick, as we ride along with Kurt, he said after that last run in the first round, I'm doing all I can, guys. It just won't turn for me. As you can see him inside the race car, having struggles with that race car being too tight so far in qualifying. Let's see if it's better here in round 2.
Yeah, Marty, we've been showing that the other guys, how they're able to turn the wheel back to the right just a little bit when they go back to the throttle. But watch right here, Kurt, he's got wheel to the left, and he just has to crank on it right there. It has to turn back up to the right a little bit, but he definitely looks tight.
1936 for Kyle Larson. That's the pace right now. Casey Kane has gone a 1952 on his first lap.
It's getting to that point for Kurt Busch in this 41 that he just has too many laps on his tires, Jeff.
Yeah.
1952 for Kurt Busch. That's the best he can muster in his 3 laps that he was on the track.
I don't think that'll make the top 12.
Danica Patrick back out on track. Had a great practice. She was 5th quickest.
Look what Danica does.
A little loose there.
Yeah, she was. Look how long it takes her before she gets to the bottom of the racetrack. She has a great big arc on corner entry. You see the 14 kind of the same way. He never really gets to the bottom till a corner exit as well. But see a lot of people go around the bottom of get to the curb sooner. But the 10 and the 14 both using a late arc into the entry of both of these corners.
Yeah, the difference is the 14 is finding a little bit more pace with his. He ran a 32 right there. Danica, her best lap at the moment is a 53.
Paul Menard out on the track. A.J. Allmendinger also out there. Jamie McMurray was just out on the track, still running.
And Allmendinger up to 3rd. He always runs well here. Just suits his driving style. He's good on the road courses. We talked about it during practice, how, you know, maybe because it's a heavy braking racetrack, it plays into what he's good at.
Concern I see is even though, say, Jamie McMurray's in the 4th position, he's only run a 46, which is a little over a tenth and almost a tenth and a half off first. I don't think there's going to be that big of a gap in the top 12. So I'm not sure with the lap that Tony Stewart was able to pick up, whether that lap will hold up for McMurray. We'll have to see. Denny Hamlin, I think, will give us a better idea of what kind of lap that is.
Sparks flying out from the right side of the 11 of Denny Hamlin. Denny's teammate Carl Edwards on the right side of the screen.
You know, all these guys are way up the racetrack on corner entry, much higher than what you normally see them.
Denny didn't get out. That's not as fast as I thought Denny Hamlin would run. Only a 43. He's going to shut it down. I'm not sure that's going to be enough. That's closer than I think he would hope to be.
Only 11 have gone, including Jeff Gordon, who's on the track now in the 88. 20 of Matt Kenseth also out there. Kenseth, this will be his first lap.
Gordon up to third.
Jeff Gordon 9 times has won at this racetrack. Most recently 1 year ago when he was able to advance into the championship 4 with the win.
I'm not sure why Gordon is Oh, no, that's Gordon is coming back into the garage. I thought he was going to run another lap. Chase Elliott goes up to P1 on his second lap. They could shut it down.
1929 for Chase Elliott. Kenseth, his lap 1948.
There's still a lot of fast cars to go, though. We've only had 13 cars go. I'm not sure. I'm confident Kurt Busch isn't going to stay in the top 12. I'm pretty confident Matt Kenseth isn't going to stay in the top 12 either in that 10th position.
Yeah, with just under 5 minutes left, I mean, they're going to have to get in there and cool down quickly. That's one of the problems of this racetrack. If you wait to go out of this second session, you need to make a second run. It just really, really gets you pushed for time.
You see Blaney is in the green. Can he have a good 3 and 4? It's all going to be about acceleration. He gets a good drive off the corner.
Blaney goes up to 9th.
And how about Regan Smith in the 12th position in the 7th car for Tommy Baldwin Racing?
So far, non-chasers the top 4 positions in this round. Ryan Blaney continues to dig. His 3rd lap not as fast as his 2nd. Joey Logano fastest after the 1st round. Can he back it up in round 2?
He's on quite a streak now. He's 6 rounds in a row at Martinsville. He's been the fastest car. This is his 1st lap. This is really his up-to-speed lap. This wouldn't even be the one you would think would matter. And he's going to be toying with the top 12 with his up-to-speed lap. Up to 10th. I expect this next lap to easily move him up into the top 3 or 4.
See David Reagan's name on the bottom of the screen right there. He's up to 7th.
Which moved Hamlin to 8th. This lap with Joe Logano should move 8th.
A little bobble there for Joey.
Yeah, that's going to cost him some speed. You see how much it cost him. Still, though, in the 4th.
1937.
I would think he would be good there. There are a lot of good cars left to go, though. We have Newman, Truex, Busch, Johnson, Keselowski.
I really look at Hamlin in 9th as one of the big stories. So much success at this racetrack, much like Jimmy Johnson in the 48. He would have to be coming here thinking this is one of his better tracks. Maybe he could get a win here. And while qualifying doesn't predetermine your finish, it definitely doesn't help the momentum if you're expecting to contend for the pole and you don't even make the third round.
Harvick only up to 17th.
Jimmy Johnson up to 6th.
Jimmy's going to quit. Harvick has to keep going.
1938 for Jimmy Johnson on his 1st lap. 1 lap for him as Brad Keselowski also now on the track.
Harvick another slow lap.
Harvick
Newman up to 11th.
18th. Kenseth 16th. Kyle Busch now 16th on his 1st lap. Harvick does struggle on the 3rd lap. 1979 for Kevin Harvick as Brad Keselowski now for his 3rd lap. And he'll shut it down.
Kyle Busch jumps up to 2nd. Truex, to 3rd. Truex to 2nd. And now Denny Hamlin sits on the cut line with 2 minutes left of round 2.
Casey Kane on the track. Everyone has taken at least a lap now.
And now I look at Matt Kenseth, who just left pit road, as one of the favorites I think can beat Denny Hamlin. While he's only 18th quick, he's only looking for 5/100ths, half a tenth. That type of improvement for this 20 car right here will remove Denny Hamlin from the top 12.
And he's flirting with it, but still.
But this is just lap 1. I would expect it. Oh, big moment right there. Just needs to get a good run off this corner. This is the lap that I think would matter right here. This is the time lap, the money lap. Can he be smooth into turn 1? Can he carry the speed through the middle of the corner? It looks pretty good. Good acceleration off.
Still in the red, though.
Just looked like he could change direction as much as he needed. A little better here. He gained it back. Can he carry it off the corner?
But he still has another lap he can make. It might work on this 3rd lap. Up to the 17th only.
And now 1 minute remaining. 1 minute remaining in round 2. And currently 3 chase drivers below the cut line. Kenseth, Harvick, and Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch back out on the track.
Jamie McMurray's out there. Kurt Busch. Danica Patrick.
Kenseth just finished his 6th lap, and he's still 17th.
Sorry about that, man.
32nd lap. 30 seconds left. These cars can get one more lap in.
Denny Hamlin's back out on the track.
I think he has to be
protect.
At this point.
McMurray behind him and pretty close to him.
Well, that hurt Jamie McMurray's lap.
So McMurray, a 1951 on that last lap. As Hamlin is right in front of him, we'll see if Hamlin can pick up any speed on this lap. And will he need to? The clock just expires. A 1949 that lap for Hamlin, but the 43 that he ran earlier is going to be good enough. Drivers that didn't make it: Kenseth, Harvick, and Kurt Busch. Chase drivers that'll start outside the top 12. Sunday Formula One is on NBC, live from Mexico City. Just 3 races remain. Can Nico Rosberg maintain his 26-point lead in the championship standings over teammate Lewis Hamilton? That coverage of the Mexican Grand Prix Sunday on NBC at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. 13th through 24th, Ryan Newman. 13th, Danica Patrick. 24th, not able to back up what she was able to do in practice earlier today. Let's go back into the garage and Dave.
Well, we always know that Ryan Newman expects to do well in qualifying, but 13th today. Ryan, why?
Not fast enough. Just a little bit free in, just a little bit snug off. But we just never could break that 1940-second barrier. 19.40. We ran it in practice. We ran a 43, a 46. For the record, though, I ran a 4.30 on my dash, which would have been 12. But it wasn't good enough with the Caterpillar Chevrolet to be a pole contender. So 13th or 12th or even 7th for that matter is not what we wanted. We wanted to be number 1.
Maybe we can go with the dash next time, Marty.
Jamie McMurray just missing that cut line as well. And I wanted to ask you, how much has this track changed throughout the day, Jamie?
Yep, our Credit One Bank Chevy was pretty good. The track has just has a lot of rubber on it. We did the tire test here a couple weeks ago and tried some really soft tires, and it laid a lot of rubber down. And we also did kind of what we did, similar to what they did at Bristol, where we put some traction on the top to try to make the restarts better. And it hasn't rained, it doesn't look like, and it's all still there. And so when we unloaded, normally you get like 10 laps on your first set of tires, and the rear tires are gone. However, this weekend the tires don't seem to be wearing a lot. So, you know, it is what it is. This has been a really good track for me. I thought we were good in race trim, which is what everyone says when they don't qualify well. But we were off on our second sticker run and really just didn't quite have the speed today.
No doubt, Rick. A lot of drivers talking about how this racetrack has changed throughout the afternoon.
I love that answer by Jamie McMurray. 3 Chase drivers did not advance into the final round, including the 41 of Kurt Busch. Saturday on FS1 at 1:30 p.m. Eastern, the chase continues in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. It's down to 6 drivers who will grab the checkered flag and clinch a spot for a chance to win the championship. And that's Saturday at 1:30 p.m. on FS1 as Sprint Cup cars, the third round, the 12 drivers coming out onto the track now for their final round. Only 5 minutes and the clock has already started. What numbers do you think we're going to see here? Will we see anybody dip down into the 20s again, a 19-20?
Yeah, I think a high 20, maybe around a 27-28 will sit on the pole.
And it doesn't look like Martin Truex Jr. wants to get out there too quickly.
Yeah, it's really not enough time to make 2 runs anyway, so sit and wait for your tires to cool down a little bit.
Is there gamesmanship that could be played here?
Yes.
You could go out pretty late, maybe run 5 or 6 or 7 laps, be on the track, and make it hard for somebody to come out on the track.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm not sure you want to start upsetting your competitors in qualifying. There's only 12 cars. I think you need to go out and do what's best for you. Now, if that affects someone else, so be it. But I don't think you want to go out of your way to affect someone else. As we see the 23 of David Reagan driving by. He was 11th in that last round. Really good qualifying run by David Reagan so far. We'll see if he can improve on that.
Yeah, that's really good for that young, small team, make this final round in Martinsville. I mean,
and that's short track racing. It's not about aerodynamics, not about horsepower. Mechanical grip, braking, driver's skill. You know, David Reagan, a short track racer.
Car looks good. Bolt is 1 and 2 really well.
David Reagan. He'll post the first time, the 30-year-old out of Unadilla, Georgia. 1979 on his first lap. Truex goes 37 on his first lap. Great first lap for Martin Truex Jr.
And trending better.
He'll be the first to drop down into the 20s. He goes 19:28. Logano trying to keep his streak alive.
Truex isn't done. He's going to try to go even faster, but Logano is trending into green as well by a good margin.
See if Logano can do it. As he comes out of 4 and posts the mark. A 29 for Logano. So he's 8/1000ths of a second slower.
It's better this lap, though. Let's see if he looked like he overdrove turn 3 the last time through there.
Out of 4, it's looking good until he came out of 4 and then lost a little speed. So a 1932 on the last lap for Logano. He's still second. Truex Jr. at 28. Still atop the chart. And a little bobble coming out of turn number 4 as he continues on the track. That's his 5th lap.
Allmendinger up to 3rd.
And now Martin Truex Jr. will pull off as less than a minute 35 to go in this final round. Carl Edwards, Kyle Busch, Joe Gibbs Racing teammates.
Now we have a bunch of cars trying to leave pit road. But remember, you need more than just 20 seconds because these cars want to make multiple laps.
Denny Hamlin still has yet to roll off. Now he's getting ready to come off of pit road. Slowly going down the backstretch, waiting to find a hole. So Truex Jr. with a 19.282 is the number everyone's shooting for. Everybody on the track, less than 45 seconds to go. This will be the first lap for Denny Hamlin. And he's 0.4 of a second off. Again, it's his first lap. Jimmy Johnson also off the pace. He's 6th quickest. Allmendinger is 3rd quickest.
Jimmy Johnson is really close getting to 3.
You can hear him on the rev chip right there. Basically, the engine hits its limitation of acceleration.
Flirted with the green through the center of the turn and not going to be able to do it. He goes 3rd quickest. Clock expires. Everyone that's on a lap now, it will count. Can Jimmy Johnson do something with this last lap, or Denny Hamlin? Doesn't look like either will. Martin Truex Jr. off the top, and Martin Truex Jr. has just made the first statement after being eliminated from the chase a week ago. Now Martin Truex Jr. wins the pole at Martinsville. Welcome back to Martinsville. A week ago, Martin Truex Jr. won the pole at Talladega. Now he does the same at the smallest track that NASCAR runs at. Let's go to Marty.
Rick, I've been around for a lot of Martin Truex Jr.'s career successes, but I've never seen him this excited to win a pole position. Now, is that because of being eliminated from the chase last week, or because you did it at Martinsville?
Mostly because it's Martinsville. I've been second here a few times, and this place is just so tough. That first pit stall is so critical for having a shot at winning here. And I'd love to get my first grandfather clock. So, yeah, a little bit after last week. This helps a little bit, but all in all, just just proud of the guys for coming here with a game plan and executing.
Is there a way to quantify the significance of winning the pole position at Martinsville with that #1 pit stall and the track position that you inherently have?
Well, it's no guarantee that you'll race well on Sunday, but you know, it's definitely a nice advantage if you have a good race car to be able to make up spots on pit road, not have to worry about getting blocked in and all those things. So it's definitely an advantage, and hopefully we can have the car to take advantage of it.
Cole Pern walked by a moment ago, said, if only we were in the chase. But Martin Truex Jr. will start from the pole here at Martinsville.
And you can expect this team to definitely try to be the spoiler for the remaining 4 races. The reason they're not in the chase, this situation that took place a week ago at Talladega Superspeedway. You can start to see a little bit of the smoke inside the car, then more smoke rolling from underneath the hood.
You see the frustration, the disappointment after just a good year, solid year, but bounced back, sits on the pole, and I think an interesting point, take that #1 pit stall away from Joey Logano, who's in the chase.
And, you know, what a great job by Truex Jr. and his entire team to come back from that disappointed, bring the energy, bring the enthusiasm that it takes to compete at this level and sit on the pole. It's very difficult to do. It's easy to get let down after that, but congratulations to those guys for having the courage and the strength to do that.
5th straight front row start for Joey Logano here. He has been great in qualifying. Look a little bit further back, 9 wins for Jeff Gordon in row 5.
And David Reagan with a great run on the outside of row 6, making the final round of qualifying. A great run for this team. But how about on this page? It's a long ways back. Matt Kenseth, Kevin Harvick, Kurt Busch, while absolutely they can recover from these starting positions, can't get caught up in an incident early, knock a fender off, damage the steering. Anything could happen at this crazy short track.
Yeah, it's the worst place you want to start. You just don't want to be in the middle of this pack. We see it every race where cars run into the back of each other. Somebody slows down quicker than you think. You can't see 4 rows up in front of you, so those guys are going to have to be careful early on.
And Rick, unlike last week, there's no strategy wanting to be in the back. Here at Martinsville, as soon as the green flag falls, the leader is coming. He's going to start lapping cars, so these cars starting, you know, in back half of the field need to start moving forward.
And let's go back into the garage, and Dave.
Catching up with Joey Logano right now, and when they told him what the pole was and compared to what he ran, he just kind of responded, where was it lost, Joey?
On exit. I had a good center, and when I went to the gas, just got loose. I thought I had a good point that I can get a good launch and just a little bit aggressive inside the car. May have cost a little bit, but that's what it takes here at Martinsville. You got to be right on that edge to go fast, and it stinks when you're that close in 8,000ths of a second, but I think we got the pole here in the spring by like 4 or 5 thousandths, so you kind of win some, you lose some, but it was nice that the streak we had was really cool, the 3 poles in a row, but coming in second makes it that much closer and kind of stings a little bit more, but you know, we're not about getting poles, we're about winning races, so we're going to try to go out here and get a grandfather clock.
Yeah, take us through tomorrow and then Sunday.
Yeah, well, tomorrow's going to be important. You know, really the second practice is when the track's going to be closest it's going to be to the race, so we need to be able to, you know, make sure we have our car good then and really understand where the track's going to go and try to, you know, get our car tuned in good for 500 laps.
And the hottest day of the week we're hearing is Sunday, Rick, so that'll be interesting to see how these teams adapt to it.
It will be warm. Right now, no one hotter as far as qualifying than the 78 team. High fives all around, little fist bumps from Cole Pern, crew chief for the 78. Chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. The round of 8 begins Sunday on NBCSN. Who will advance to the championship 4 with a victory? Race coverage begins at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Once again, remind you that Dale Earnhardt Jr. will be joining us in the broadcast booth for a part of the telecast as he will lend his driving perspective to this race. We enjoyed having him a part of the broadcast a week ago at Talladega. And let's go to the infield once again as Dave Burns just caught up with David Reagan moments ago.
Nice final round run for David Reagan at Martinsville this weekend, and the first in a couple of years. Where did the team make gains, David?
I think just coming to a small track helps a lot. You know, our smaller team, BK Racing, we're at a little bit more of an equal playing field here. And even at Talladega, I know the fans may not really understand one track's 2.6 miles and one track's a half of a mile, but coming here, you know, your aero platform doesn't mean as much, your downforce, the attitude of the race car, some things that we don't quite understand. So this is a little bit more old school feel. I feel like I can offer my input, and it actually means something. At a lot of the other tracks, they look at me like I'm crazy when I offer a suggestion, but we just unloaded really close. Patrick Donahue and our team did a really nice job learning what kind of struggles we had here in the spring, making a little bit better decisions coming here on Friday, and our car was good to unload, and that's really the biggest issue. You don't have a lot of time to work on your race car when you unload, get it ready for qualifying. So it was close, and that's a great starting spot, and it's going to be a fun race on Sunday.
I was going to say, for a veteran like you then, does this help you sleep, or does it make you lose a little sleep with such a good starting spot?
Well, we've got to take tomorrow very serious. You know, when you start 25th or 30th, you're making some big changes, just trying to find some speed. But when you can start in the top 15, you know that you've got a fast enough car with pure speed to run in the top 15. So you got to make really good decisions tomorrow. Like I mentioned before, the sun's out. It's going to be a beautiful day on Sunday. So the track's going to rubber up a little different than what we saw definitely here in the spring, but even the last few years. So Patrick and our engineer, they might not sleep too good tonight because the pressure will be on them to make good adjustments for Sunday.
So good knowledge from David Reagan today. Talladega and Martinsville, similar in one way.
Good feedback. Good feedback by the driver. And Jeff, that's so important to be able to have that good communication between driver and crew chief.
Yeah, what he said is right. When you go to Michigan or somewhere like that, the attitude of the car is so important that the driver really, he can tell if the car is loose or tight, but you know, how to fix the car is so much more difficult at those racetracks. Here you come, and it's not simple by any means, but it's a little more you're a little more accustomed to doing what you did as a short track racer. David still races short tracks now, so you know he's able to stay in contact with the car, can give more information, and that helps the race team.
Fourth best start all time for BK Racing with that 12th place start for David Reagan. Another non-chaser that was even in the top 5, A.J. Allmendinger, was caught up to by Dave Burns moments ago.
Well, it's another in a string of good qualifying runs for A.J. Allmendinger here. It seems like this place is, you're adapting this place very well. A standard day for you here?
Yeah, I mean, just a solid day. Martinsville, it's so critical to qualify up front. And, you know, I felt like our Kroger-Clorox Chevy was pretty good all day. We did a little bit of race trim. Kind of didn't change a ton from the spring race here. So, you know, I was really pleased to see where we qualified because I didn't think we had a ton of outright speed, which was kind of the same thing in the spring. Felt like our car is going to be really good on the long run, so we're going to work on that still. But overall, to be P4 and have a good starting spot, a great day. And I really enjoy this place. It's close to as a road course as you can get on an oval, so I really enjoy it. But overall, solid day. Go to Saturday, see what we got, and be ready for Sunday.
A lot of practice time tomorrow, and we looked at the track coming in today. There's that high groove. They seem to try to sticky up a little bit to get used. Does anybody go up there, including you, in practice tomorrow to check it out?
I won't be the first one to go up there. There may be some people working up there. You know, Martinsville is always one of the toughest practice sessions, I feel like, because it's supposed to be 83, 84, which is great for the fans on Sunday, so everybody should be coming out. But in the mornings, it's cool, and you don't really get a sense of what your car is going to do until the last 20 or 30 minutes of happy hour practice. So it's always tough, but, you know, as I said, we got close to the same setup. We're just going to keep fine-tuning that, and hopefully we get one spot better on Sunday.
NASCAR in October, it can be challenging.
Pretty impressive run, though, for A.J. Allmendinger. He'll start 4th on Sunday, and we've talked a lot about that first pit stall. Let's learn a little bit more. Marty's down there.
Well, we always talk about how it's the most advantageous pit stall in all of NASCAR, advantageous #1 pit stall. And usually when we say that, we mean that from the end of the pit stall to the timing line at the end of pit road, that's the key. That's actually not the key here at Martinsville because the timing line is pretty far down the road. In fact, 23 yards away is that timing line. But the biggest thing about this pit stall #1, the clean exit from that pit stall. Nobody else on pit road has this advantage. They have literally nobody in front of them and a clean own lane. The lane they have half is all by themselves. They can come straight out onto the racetrack right from there. But here's where all the real games are played. Out here is where everybody else comes, and this is what we'll see Sunday afternoon. You want to be on that inside line, so you'll start doing math in your head. The spotters up there will tell the driver, hey, slow down a little bit, let someone else go in front of you, and so you'll play games in here trying to let cars pass you, trying to figure out how you can be on that inside line, all to make it to this timing line with an odd number in your head. That's what you're thinking. You want to hear your first, third, fifth, so you can be on that inside line. That's the biggest key. Getting to this line Sunday afternoon with an odd number in your head so you can start on the inside, because that is the key at Martinsville. We saw it here in the fall last year with Matt Kenseth, or in the spring this year with Matt Kenseth. Started on the outside on that final restart in second, wound up finishing 15th.
So many games are played trying to get off of pit road. And just what Marty had said, you want to start in an odd number position. Joey Logano, having that first pit stall, knows he's first off the pit road, but then everybody else jockeying for position.
Yeah, look behind Kevin Harvick and Keselowski all but stop getting off pit road, they don't want to be the guy on the outside. They don't want to be second. So what ends up happening is they're both right here. They see Joey Logano's on the racetrack. I don't want to be second, don't want to be outside. So they both slow down. But the problem with that was the 41 eventually had to get back on the racetrack or hit the end of pit wall, and he gets into the side of the 4 car and gets the fender damage. So right there, I mean, he really didn't have much choice but to turn left. He wasn't expecting those guys to stop, and next thing you know, you're making contact, and the 4 car eventually had to come back and pit to fix that damage. Denny Hamlin wasn't happy with the games being played, but you know, it wasn't the first time we'd seen it done. No. It won't be the last.
Once again, they will continue to try to jockey and figure out how they can be on the inside when the restart takes place. More from Martinsville after this.
Sitting directly in front of me, the Ken Schrader car and the Dale Earnhardt car. Schrader now very quickly calling over for the medical crews.
I was in shock, like I think the rest of the world. I couldn't believe it.
There were so few details as to what actually was taking place.
It appears an airplane crashed into the World Trade Center.
2001 was a traumatic experience, not only for the country, but for the sport.
I don't know that the industry could go through another roller coaster like that.
The entire 2001 season had just about everything.
I think Dale Earnhardt was in the passenger seat of this car today.
This doesn't give you chill bumps, and you're just not in this world right now.
If that didn't happen, I don't know what would have happened. This is possible. This is doable.
Sunday, following live race coverage from Martinsville on NBCSN, it's a new 60-minute documentary that chronicles a year NASCAR will never forget, Jeff, and what a year it was.
Yeah, I think even, you know, the whole country will never forget. It changed the country in so many ways and had such a major impact on our sport. But, you know, just everyday life changed in that year
definitely.
as well.
Again, that's NASCAR Seasons 2001, Sunday at 6:30 p.m. on NBCSN. Qualifying concluded. Martin Truex Jr. wins the pole. Tomorrow, Sprint Cup Series practice at 9 o'clock. Another final practice will be at 12:30. Formula One qualifying, the Mexican Grand Prix at 2 o'clock. And then Sunday, plenty of action this weekend. NASCAR America at noon, countdown to green at 12:30. And Sprint Cup Series racing from Martinsville at 1 o'clock. And it all wraps up with NASCAR America post-race show at 5.